Very good afternoon to one and all. I, Dr. D. Lakshman Kumar, Associate Professor, Chebrol Hanumayan Institute of Pharmaceutical Sciences, Guntur. I take this opportunity in starting the first session of day 1 on AICTE and ISTE sponsored induction program on training on pilot plant scale-up techniques phase 2. On this note, I would like to introduce today's speaker, Professor R. Nagaraj Garu. Sir is currently working as Dean CDC, Sri Padmavati Mahila University, Tirupati. Sir is having 20 years of research experience and 33 years of teaching experience. Honors and awards received by the Sir, if you see, Best Pharmacy Teacher Award by Association of Pharmaceutical Teachers of India in the year 2018, State Best Teacher Award in the year 2017 by the Government of Andhra Pradesh, National Best Teacher Award in the year 2017 by CVS Krishnamurti Charities Tirupati, the Best Teaching Pharmacist Award in the year 2017 by Indian Pharmaceutical Association, Tirupati Local Branch, National Level Pharmacist Award in the year 2017 in the category of Scientific and Innovative Research Award in the year 2017 by Seemandhra Drug Dealers Association and Andhra Pradesh State Pharmacy Colleges Management Association, Pharmaceutical Scientist of the Year Award in the year 2017 by Andhra Pradesh Council for Science and Technology, that is APC OST, Government of Andhra Pradesh, and Distinguished Alumna Award of Manipal College of Pharmaceutical Sciences, Manipal, for the year 2005. He is the Achiever of the Year 2002 award by AWOPA, Bangalore. Sir received grants of 237 lakhs from ESP, UGC, ASTE, and awarded with 2 patents in dental implants. Sir is awarded 10 PhDs and 8 PhDs on ongoing. Sir published different seminars and conferences, different variety of papers published in eminent seminars. Membership in reputed bodies, if you see, R&D consultant to various organizations and member of governing council of few educational institutions. He is the member of editorial board of few reputed journals. With this brief note, now I request Professor R. Nagaraj sir to kindly take the platform and to start the session. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Lakshman, for your nice introduction. I'll start sharing the screen.
Okay, sir. You can start.
Is it visible?
Yes, sir. It is visible.
Yeah. At the outset,
Yes,
I should be thankful to Professor Vidyadhar and his team, especially inviting me to deliver the lecture on this occasion of training program on pilot plant. The topic is too specific and definitely will help the participants to understand the insights of what is happening in pilot plant scale-up technique. And for any big exercise, or you're big or small, you require a warm-up. So that's why, Dr. Lakshman? Dr.
Yes,
Lakshman,
yes.
Are you recording? You're recording the lecture, no?
Yes, sir. We are recording.
Okay, fine. So a warming up is required for a big exercise. So when I see the galaxy of speakers in the program, very carefully drawn from industry as well as the experts from the academics, I requested Professor Vidyadhar to give me the first slot because I will do the warming up of all of you to understand the basic concepts in this. Then we can progressively go to the specific things where you are going to undergo the training in this program. And I also heartening to know around 30 participants are available throughout from the length and breadth of the India and take an interest in attending this program. And again, if at all it is too basic, please excuse me. The intention here is to make you ready to understand the next advanced concepts. Probably some teachers who are already know about these things, what I'm going to talk. That's why I said categorically an introduction part. So I will be focusing the fundamental aspects of it, give you the set induction we call in pharmaceutical teaching management. Therefore, I'll create the platform to you and make you to orient yourself in to receive the further inputs from the experts later in this session. As Dr. Lakshman rightly introduced, and I be very proud to be associated with Sri Padmavati Women's University, the only women's university in the state of Andhra Pradesh. And of course, in Telangana also no universities there, but anyway, and our university, the pharmacy department has started 25 years back. Now, the silver jubilee year of the pharmacy department. Achievement of the pharmacy department are many. Noteworthy is last before year we got 47th NIRF rank, and this year, last year we have got 42 rank. That is the second in state of Andhra Pradesh. First is, of course, needless to say, Andhra University. So this department has gone long way in 25 years. We could award almost 73 PhD students and hundreds of M.Pharm students has passed out. The alumni are women, girls, are doing excellently in their jobs, what they selected. Quite a few of them are there abroad also pursuing, their jobs. Right. This is in brief about the department, about the university, what I'm working for. And I am this university last 2004 I joined. For last 15 years, I am here working as a professor. I am going to discuss with you, as I said in the introduction of my talk, it is only an introductory aspect of the pilot landscape. I am going to talk to you under the following headings. To start with, the basic terminologies used in pilot plant scale up and what should be the objectives of this exercise, why we should do the reasoning, and what is their significance, brief about pilot plant design and its operation, and something related to a few minutes. I want to spend something on the equipment, what is going to be, of course. So finally, the bibliography, needless to say. The few definitions which are commonly you will be hearing during the course of many people talks in future also are here listed here. Number one is the plant. The plant is a place where 5 M's, that is money, material, man, method, and machine are brought together for manufacturing of the product. This is general definition of a plant. Then what is pilot plant? Pilot plant is one where a lab scale formula is transferred into a viable product by the development of a viable practical procedure for manufacture. It is something like intermediate course. Intermediate is something where the school and the college, university, is the preschool. In between is the intermediate. That's why it is called as intermediate course. Something in between is the pilot plant. The R&D, what has been invented, what has been done in the laboratory scale, before going to the production scale, it will be done. A practical procedure is developed in the pilot scale. That is called as a plant, the pilot scale, what is going to be. Then what is the scale up? Scaling up is blowing up. Like it's the art of designing a prototype using the data obtained from the pilot plant model, and we get the data from the pilot plant model and convert it into a viable production procedure. So the same thing what has been shown, has been talked to you just now, has been shown in the form of a good slide here. The R&D and R&D and scale up between pilot scale is there. After scale up, once the formula is developed, then it will go for the large scale production. So the pilot scale, needless to say, it is a very important exercise in pharmaceutical product development. We cannot go directly to the production scale because of obvious reasons about that fixing of various processing parameters, processing variables, developing an optimized formula. All these things are not possible in the production scale, owing it's a large amount of the material is going to be consumed. So what basically the pilot scale and scale up mean further is pilot scale, I just now mentioned, it is an intermediate batch scale. It is intermediate where we call it as because the manufacturing of the drug product by a procedure fully representative of and simulated to that of manufacturing scale. So that's what it is going to be done in the pilot scale. It is going to be done and we have to use the equipment in the pilot working on the same principles as that of the production plant. So, for example, if we are going to use what you call fluid bed dryer for making the granulation, and we should also use the fluid bed dryer in pilot scale also with a small quantity. I mean that. So, whatever the manufacturing unit operations, what we are going to use in the production scale should be representative of the pilot scale, where that is going to be very, very important. So we need to select the instruments, equipment in the same principle it is working. The scale up is it is the next stage where it is going to be the actual scaling up next to the pilot scale. It is going to be where the process of increasing whatever the batch size or the procedure, applying the same process to the different output volumes are going to be done in the scale up way. So it comes to the any one of our minds. Why do you require a pilot scale? Why can't you go directly to the production scale? I just now mentioned to you it is important to identify the crucial parameters, variables, and optimize them so that you are going to directly transform that into a pilot scale, into the manufacturing scale. So the bench studies where it is going to be easier. I'd say, for example, in the laboratory for making a simple mixing, we can use the mortar and pestle. Whereas in the production scale, we cannot use such laboratory scale equipment because of the various obvious reasons about the production characteristic features. So therefore, it is a prime important to find out the product characterization and purity of the drug. It is easier in the bench studies, and whereas that need to be transformed into the production where the pilot scale plays an intermediate role in that. And of course, you know, the regulatory world, what you are living now is the increasing compliance with the regulations is very important as the product moves from the testing and evaluation. So it is a challenging task or Herculean task for the production chemist, production pharmacist in production area to make all the process which are regulatory compliant. I saw in the few list of the speakers, few speakers are going to speak to you about the regulatory perspective of pilot scale, how it is going to be. Probably this is going to be very, very important aspect of it. Otherwise, your product will not come out of the unit. And then in the pilot scale, we increase the knowledge about the possible problems or the snags or pitfalls while manufacturing the product with respect to manufacturing, with respect to processing, with respect to packing and the storing of the product. So therefore, the pilot scale is going to be very significantly occupy in the product development because this improved knowledge, increased knowledge will give us a better understanding and transforming into a larger scale. And of course, ultimately facilitate the transfer of a product from a laboratory to the into the production. And there are the products which are very successful in the laboratory may not be that successful in the production because of various obvious reasons. All of you know that. One such thing is liposomes. It is very successful in the laboratory and in the production, in the market potential, market success or scaling up is very difficult in such dosage forms. So therefore, the pilot scale is going to be a very important uh, uh, pilot department where it is going to be play a very crucial role to bridge the gap between the production as well as the laboratory process. Then why scale up? The scaling up is something which is going to be converted from the milligrams to the grams to that of the higher denomination and the production. The scaling up is necessary to determine the effect of scale on the product quality. I wanted to focus on this. Sometimes when the scaling up is done, as I just now said, it is very easier to control all the process parameters at the laboratory scale. And also to some extent, that thing can be translated to the pilot scale. But however, we have to get the same product quality. So the scaling up, it has to be done in toto. Therefore, the product quality is not affected. What I mean here is the processes may behave differently on a small scale and a large scale. So identify those processes and address what is going to be the problems in that. So because many processes are scale dependent, that means at the lower scale, at the small scale, you may get a very good one, like it is like a cooking in the house for 2 people or 3 people. And if somebody asks you to cook for 100 people, so it will be very difficult. You require altogether a different talent to make in the large scale. So that is exactly it is happening here also. And many a times we see they for not proper care is not taken, for proper development is not taken, they may fail in they means here the product may fail in quality assurance test. So therefore, it needless to say, a perfect product in the laboratory and the pilot plant is the main objective of the scaling up. So where it is possible by a well-defined process. So therefore, the scaling up is also a very important technique where depending upon the, that's why in most of the terminology you will see pilot plant scale up. In pilot plant scale up, even though they are two separate processes, we will not uh, view them separately because the pilot plant is almost integrated with the scale up also. So we need to define here what is going to happen. We need to assure the manufacturer, even though you go for a larger scale, nothing will happen. So therefore, the scale up is very important. Coming to the important objectives of the pilot plant. Basically, the pilot plant are being designed to produce a physically and chemically stable product, that is the therapeutic dosage form. So the aim, the outcome of this is very important to demonstrate the product which you are translating from a laboratory to the production via pilot scale should be physically and chemically stable. And we also see the review of the processing equipment, what is going to be available in the larger scale. We will get a prototype of equipment in the pilot scale, pilot department, and a large scale thing we are going to have. So we are going to see the reviewing process, how it is going to behave. And we develop here the guidelines for the production as well as the process control of the dosage forms. So the guidelines are developed in the pilot lab, pilot plant department, where all the process controls and the production steps will be clearly defined here and passed on to the what I should say, the large scale preparations, right? And we also develop a stringent protocol as per the regulatory guidelines with respect to evaluation and its validation. So this will form a basis for the going the product into the regulatory environment to identify what is the critical features in the process. So we need to check and identify, say for example, to make it a little understand, say for example, in an emulsion, the laboratory scale, what do we do? The critical thing is here, it is going to be the preparation of the primary emulsion in a what I should say, in a wet granulation method and a dry granulation method. Critical method, critical process is going to be what do you call the addition of the gum. So that, if at all, we need to translate into the product control in the larger scale, probably those need to be understood very well and has to be translated carefully. Uh, therefore, the final product is going to be very good. And the more importantly, the master formula, master manufacturing formula will be developed here by considering all the process parameters. All of you may be aware, and all the teachers are also aware. If you go into, if you observe what is happening in industry, they will get a production sheet. So what should be the step one, what should be step two, step three, step four, like that. So the people who are in charge will just blindly follow that, and they are going to get the product. So who has given that the formula? That is the manufacturing formula. It is the pilot plant department develops the formula and give them production department, follow that without any problems. So the building up of a pilot plant in the developmental process form is very important that to evaluate the process of large change in the scale of operation. That's what quite a few minutes back also I was talking to you. The scaling up the process sometimes, as I just now said the previously, may do very good in a small scale, and when they scale up, the product process may fail. So therefore, we need to evaluate any such sensitive processes are there which are going to change under large scale scaling up operation. Therefore, this is going to be very important. And you are going to examine and find out all the byproducts or the waste produced and how it is going to be treated. So these are going to be another important one where the pilot plant scale, I mean pilot plant department is essential. And we do produce a trials of lot of quantities of the material. So here we are, it is going to be a very significantly when you're optimizing the various processes, we may have to do various trial and error method. Of course, by the introduction of quality by design, we can also apply the quality by design and limit our trials only for few number of trials depending upon the what design you are using, and come out with a good process after the QBD approach also. Now the QBD approach is very popular in the industry. Probably some of the speakers, I am sure, they are going to talk to you about it, where the trial and error method is not that frequently used because the time as well as the material what we are going to be consumed in this. So in case of the clinical studies and analytical development and process development, stability testing, pilot plant will have a lot of contribution in developing the master formula and give you the way how to go from a small scale to large scale. And the significance attached to the pilot plant department is where a lot of responsibility they have, and they will crucially examine the various formulae available with them from the input from the R&D, that is the laboratory one, and review the range of relevant processing equipments, what are going to be available with them, and applications of them, what is going to be done. And also the production rate adjustment can be justified here. The pilot plant will suggest what should be the production rate and how it can be achieved, all those things. And it also gives you the idea about how to establish the production area, that is about physical space required, and which these are people are going to project, and those are the things which is going to be required as per the current GMP practices. And of course, appropriate records and reports to support the GMP. And now we are all in GMP ambit, and we have also under the ISO ambit. And nowadays, even educational organizations are going for ISO recognition, not only the industry and other aspects of it. We have a separate guidelines for the maintaining the these appropriate records and reports. So accordingly, you need to develop and advise the production department what type of records we are going to maintain. And it is these are very this thing, even educational institutions we need to maintain as a lot of record where NIRF is based on that, and NAC is based on record and as well as other aspects of it, and what activities you are doing, that we should have a proof for all those things. All those things are becoming very, very essential even in academics. Of course, needless to say, in industry, the record maintenance is a Herculean task where the records and will be developed and as per the GMP guidelines, and they will train the people to maintain this. And again, I have put this word, that is identification of the critical features to maintain the quality. If you want the quality output, what should be the parameters need to have a control. So it is like, where people say, where the main and very important parameter is the quality of the raw material. Isn't it? We cannot make a substandard raw material to give a best product. We have to struggle a lot. That's what always my teacher used to say, that the input of the students also we are facing all the problems. To train a student which are below the particular level is difficult than train of a student who or he or she is going to be at a particular level. The same way, industry also, pilot plant also identifies to have a good quality. So we need to critical features has to be identified, and more focus has to be given on this, and therefore the production department will come out a product which is approved as well as don't have any problems with the quality. The same thing I have put in a form of a chart. The objectives of scale up is we have discussed this, but anyway, I quickly go through since the slide is here. Formulation related, equipment related, documentation, production and process related, and product related. So these are all the, the important tasks in front of the scale up units, where we need to address all these things individually and see that successfully come out the records and reports according to CGMP, and get a master manufacturing formula to go to bring out the a product which is going to be uploaded. So the formula is a very master formula is very important. What is going to be so much of significance attached to the the formula development, right? The first and foremost important is ability. The formula should be able to have a ability to withstand the batch scale. That is very, just how I was just mentioning to you, the product may do very good in a small scale and laboratory scale, but in the production scale, the process is going to be difficult to control. So you need to develop a formula which will have the ability to withstand the scaling up, ability to withstand the batch scale. And the formula should quickly modify, quickly adopt the process modification, and we should not see any deviations but the slight modification of the formulation processing. And the formula should be should have a good compatibility with the equipment, and where it is going to be very important. The equipment, what you are going to be used, the formulation, what you have developed, the formula, what you have developed should have a good ability to make it. And then the first and the very important, the very important parameter is the raw materials. Just now I spoke to you about the raw materials are very crucial. So the availability of the raw materials which meets the specifications, this is very important. We have a lot of specifications to bring out the quality product. So the raw materials, we should have a vendor who is going to supply these raw materials continuously and having the responsibility to have a good product coming out of the this thing and supplying to the industry for us. And then we should have the formula should sufficiently explain the layout and related functions, and it also should go very good with the physical space required, and uh, and important cost factor. So especially in India, not only in India, wherever in the world, the cost of the product is very important. So why I said India is because we have a lot of problems. We have the product availability. The poor people should get. That's why DPCO is there. Drug price control order includes all essential drugs in that. Around 27 drugs are there in that, which has been put in the cost bracket. So therefore, we cannot just produce a very good product and costing very high. That will not become a hit in the market. And of course, we should see the market requirement. See that what is exactly the market requires, expects from the industry or from the product, where it is going to be. Yes. Now the central government is giving a lot of support for startups. You have any ideas or any startups, including in the manufacturing science, we can definitely approach the central government to start some startups immediately. So therefore, the formula has to be robust in nature, having all the salient features what has been explained, what has been made available to you. Again, the same thing. The scale up should adequately monitor all the process involved. It should not change, as I just now repeatedly telling, the small scale, the large scale. The process should not change. Quality of the product should not change, and it should also scale up should also provide the assurance that the whole process is under control. So we cannot say, well, I have done in my laboratory, I have got it. And of course, if we're doing the large scale, we may not be able to get the same quality product. So therefore, pilot plant scale up, we'll work it out on this, and they will work out on the process where the given the assurance, all the process is going to be under control. The whatever the product which is coming out or produced maintains the specified attributes that is originally intended. So the product which is going to come out of this process should have all the characteristic features what we are thought of in the product should contain. So these are all the some of the very crucial features in the scale up thing. Coming to a few thoughts about the pilot plant design. So the pilot plant design uh, is basically the pilot plant design basically is going to be address the formulation and process development and supply and manufacture and technology evaluation, scale up and transfer. So the pilot plant should cater the needs of what has been just now mentioned: formulation development and the supply, clinical supply, manufacture, and technology evaluation, scale up and transfer. Your pilot plant design should focus to come out all these objectives what is being put forward in front of it. The attributes required are going to be many. I try to list out a few here. The CGMP compliance, a flexible, highly trained staff, and equipment to support multiple dosage form development, equipment at multiple scales based on similarity of operating principles to those in the production. This was from the beginning. I'm trying to tell it to you is the operating principles of various equipment should be same as that of the production. And intermediate size and the full scale equipment, you should have the same principles. And the equipment should be portable. Therefore, we can establish with a minimum effort anywhere in the premises, and we should have a multi-purpose rooms where the room can be used for pilot plant designing of a tablet or a capsule or some other thing in the same facilities, same space can be used. And restricted access and regulated personal flow and material flow has to be strictly implemented, and low maintenance and operating costs. So especially this, the effective establishment of the pilot plant addresses needs of all this, then we will be able to get a final product which is going to be significant to us. I'm sure I'm not going into detail of all these things. As I said in the beginning, I try to refresh your basic understanding of the pilot plant scale up techniques. So I'll confine to only the very superficial understanding. As I said, set induction so that you a warming up. Therefore, you will be prepared to listen, prepared to get more and more insights in this aspect from the other speakers. So, what are the operational aspects you are expecting from the pilot plant? It is number one is the validation, training, engineering support, maintenance and calibration of various equipment, material control, inventory orders and labeling, and what is going to be the possible process and manufacturing activities, and quality assurance and quality control. So there are so many functions, operational aspects where the pilot plant should be able to add scale up, should be able to give the solutions for this. If you see the validation part, what are the crucial things in the validation? The crucial things in the validation is designing of various specifications, what is going to be required, installational qualifications, you have to develop that, operational qualification, performance qualification, and CGMP and FDA standards. So all these five important aspects has to be bear in the mind, and suitable validation aspects has to be developed. And we'll come about the training part of it. The training part is basically focused on the technical skills and knowledge of the staff we are working there, compliance with GMP practices. It is going to be safety and environmental responsibilities, which are going to be trained up where, because these are very important aspects where we need to have the personnel we are going to be there has to be getting all this information training in this aspect. Then engineering support. So nowadays, I think all of the teachers, the engineering, we used to have, we have engineering paper, even in pharmacy, but over a period of time, the engineering paper have been diluted so much and diverted to different angles. And when we were students 30 years back, the engineering two subjects are very important subjects taught by the engineering college people. So therefore, people, the intention was the people should have some idea about, when you talk about engineering aspects of it, the pharmacists should have an idea. So over a period of time, those things have been modified and whatsoever it is going to be. The engineering support is required about the designing of the facility, what facility is required and how you are going to establish that. So you should have a knowledge about it, discuss with engineering people and get that things available to you. And the construction of the facility, and uh, and we are going to also see the various proper directions of ongoing operations and validation of the facilities, which are going to be uh, brought out in this aspect. Next is maintenance and calibration. Maintenance and calibration are going to be, sorry, to ensure uh, the data, to ensure the data of which is going to be highly integrity and equipment reliability. And it is very important. The integrity of the data is very important. It should not be hacked easily, and the whatever you are going to get should be able to be reliable. And when you come for, when our plant goes for inspections, people should be able to talk about this. So the data integrity plays a very important role in this. And then when you talk about the computerized system, yeah, you ask me where computer is not there nowadays. Computer is there everywhere. So we need to know how to get the best out of the computerization, what is available to us. And computerization with respect to material control, with respect to inventory control, with respect to manufacturing, with respect to labeling, everything can be made computerized. And the computerization not only brings in the accuracy, speed, but also it brings in error-free, what I should say, processing, which is going to be done. So wherever you see the computerization is happening, and it is also catching up, catched also many angles where anyway it is going to be integrated. And all of you know about how computerization is giving a very important insights about the material control and inventory. You know very well how the inventory is maintained, how computerization will tell what, when to buy and what to buy when the stock is depleted, and what is the requirement for further 6 months, and all those things. So next is going to be a process and manufacturing activities, coordination of the process and manufacturing activities. So this is going to be very significantly plays an important role, and where the formulation development or studies, where we need to know, and the technology, scaling up and transfer and manufacturing, all this, all this need to be integrated, and have to have the common operational activities. Then the quality assurance and quality control. The quality assurance and quality control is very important, and which is going to be play a crucial role in auditing pilot plant. And nowadays, I also bring to your made to understand that we have academic audit also in various universities and the colleges, where whether this whatever it is been done has been audited by the third party auditing. Likewise, in industry, the auditing is very common, and your quality assurance will reflect about auditing of the pilot plant. You need to develop a different, what I should say, documents, and see that the quality assurance has been done. And auditing and approval of the by the competent suppliers, and reviewing approval and maintaining batch records for clinical supplies, sampling and release of raw materials and components required for clinical supplies, release of clinical supplies, and maintaining and distributing facility and standard operating procedures, and review, appropriate review and proper documentation. So all these things are going to be coming under the quality assurance aspect activity in the pilot plant. Coming to the quality control, not last but not the least here in this category, the release of testing of the finished product is going to be very important aspect of it, where comes under the quality control aspect. Physical, chemical, microbiological testing on finished, it should be a clinical products here. Finished clinical products, components required for clinical supplies, and testing for various validation and revalidation programs, quality in process testing during development, during scale up, all those things are going to be very, very important. So this comes under the quality control responsibility of the operational activities. Next, what are going to be the basic requirements in this? The requirements are for pilot scale, the scale up are being listed here. There are personal requirements, equipment requirements, space requirements, process evaluation, GMP considerations, master manufacturing procedures. So let us see in brief about what are the personal requirements to work in this pilot plant department. So here, the theoretical knowledge of the pharmaceutics is very important here. Ability to communicate to the people, communication skills, soft skills, practical experience in pharmaceutical industry is preferable. Engineering capability, knowledge of electronics and computers. These are, I will not go into details of this. These are all the expected personal requirements, the persons who are going to work in the pilot plant scale-up department. What happened? Yeah. Equipment requirement are the equipment selected based on the processing characteristics of the product. We have to decide about that. And most of the products what you are going to develop should be simple. And I mean, the equipment should be selected simple, simplest form, efficient, and more economical. And the size should be relevant to the production size of batches. That is what I was telling from the beginning. And ease of cleaning is very, very important. Then space requirements. We also should project what should be the administration information processing is required, how much space is required, physical testing area, standard plant equipment floor space, storage area, storage of APIs, storage of excipients, and how these are be segregated further and for the approval area and unapproved materials and in-process materials and finished products, which are written samples and so on. So therefore, the space requirements also we need to develop and project it in such a way that that is going to be improved. And the evaluation of the process. So process parameters should be evaluated and optimized, and that's what the whole exercise has to be done. So for example, if at all you take example of a mixing, what should be the order of addition of various ingredients that need to be specified? What should be the mixing speed? So how much speed we are going to use and how much time we have to mix and what should be the rate of addition. So these are all in unit operations. That's what in the beginning I said. The process evaluation has to be done used on different equipment which has been used for the process. We need to develop the master formula, these conditions. So how we are going to get these conditions in the pilot plant department, people will develop, have an effect of all these things. And as I said, quality by design also we can do. We can use optimization techniques, or we can do trial and error conventional methods and bring out the best conditions for the process. That's what the process evaluation, which are going to be significant in this. And then master manufacturing procedure, quite some time I am talking to you. So this master manufacturing procedure is something like that, which is going to be a chemical weigh sheet. So which identify all the chemicals and the other ingredients required and its quantity and also the order of using. Then the sampling directions. So what, how the sampling has to be done and what should be the correct size of the sample and so on. Then process specifications. Just now I mentioned taking an example of mixing. Likewise, we should specify what's the unit process is happening, what should be its specifications we need to follow. A master manufacturing formula procedure is very. I tried to get some master manufacturing formula from some industry because of some confidentiality. Many of my friends don't like to share those sheets or say some documents. Probably on some other occasion, if at all some people are helping, I can even see where some industry people are coming. You can always ask them how to show a master manufacturing procedure. So they may show it to you, and should be in an understandable language. What is going to be very important here, and in process and finished product specifications, and what should be and how the proper documentation. So all these things will be developed. Master manufacturing procedure and the form is being developed in pilot plant, in scale-up department, and be provided in the production unit. So the GMP considerations has to be given utmost importance with respect to GMP consideration in the process validation and regular process review and revalidation, and SOPs in developing of SOPs. We need to incorporate the GMP considerations and equipment qualification. There also it is required, and also preventive maintenance. So it is a what do you call the maintenance? Regular maintenance and preventive maintenance is different. Preventive maintenance is before any problem occurs, that will be identified beforehand only. So they will have a check of it where regularly they will check. Those are the things. Therefore, the plant will not unnecessarily shut down of the plant for silly reasons will be there. So the regular scheduled preventive maintenance has to be done, and as per that has to be done as per the GMP practices. Validated cleaning procedures and orderly arrangement of equipment so as to ease the material flow and prevent cross contamination. This is how the equipment has to be lined in a process of what is happening, and that arrangement has to be specified here. A well-defined technology transfer system. So usually whatever technology developed in pilot scale up, that will be transferred. People are there, CROs are there, they develop and come and execute in the production batch based on that. You should have a well-defined technology transfer system. The use of competent and technically qualified personnel, basically, that is very important here. That's why there's a lot of demand in industry for such people, and even the freshers they are recruiting now and then. So encourage our fresh students who are interested in this type of work, and adequate provision for training of the personnel. So if especially when you are using the freshers, we should have a training of them, and also even the people who are also working with experience also required to be trained in the new aspects, which is going to come. What I should say, time and again. So, based on these few minutes, what I spoke to you on introductory aspects of pilot plant, I'll put forward the conclusion part for this section. That is a thorough understanding. All this being made into one simple sentence here. A thorough understanding of the integration of scale factors, facility design, equipment design, and process performance is necessary for scale up and process transfer. So these are the few references. What has been the material has been taken. Also something discussion with the friends who are working in the industry. Yeah, I thank all of you for your patient listening. Now over to the organizers. Maybe some queries or some interaction. If it is there, probably I'll try to put forward my thought in that.
Participants, now you can ask your queries. By unmuting, you can ask your queries. Previously, somebody raised a hand.
Yeah. Somebody raised the hand. I am not able to locate.
Hello.
Hello. Yeah. Yes, madam. I am able to listen.
Yes.
Please tell. Put forward your
Sir, Is there any failure after scaling up from R&D batch to commercial batch? Do you have any examples in India?
Yeah. Every industry will do that. Generic drug development, if you are doing it, right, they have to develop a master formula in pilot only. You need not actually always get the R&D product. If any product has to go to the manufacturing production, has to be invariably developed within the small scale in the pilot only. Then only they will go for large scale. And you please don't have an impression that only R&D products will go to the pilot plant will be there. Pilot plant will be there in the formulation development of before going to the production. And large scale production, this will be done.
Okay,
I
but
hope
do
I
you have
answered your
any?
question.
Yeah, sir. Do you have any case study with regard to the failure?
Yeah, that's what I
That's
tried
what
that,
I'm
and
asking.
during the because of the confidentiality problems, many industry friends does not like to share those documents with me. Probably you are going to get few industry people. I have seen the list of it. Probably they may share some of the things to you in maybe subsequently what you are going to. Maybe there are
Yeah,
people
sir.
from few
Yeah,
good
we have
industries are there.
yeah, we have
So yeah,
speakers from
probably.
industry.
I really tried because when I'm making this lecture, that will be very good even if I give some case studies even to the students. So
Yeah.
unfortunately, I didn't get any such things because most of it is a confidential documents, and we don't get all those things. Yeah.
Yes. Thank you so much. Thanks for sharing the information.
Thank you.
Thanks. It's
Thank you.
excellent presentation, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Any other queries from the participants?
Hello, sir. Sir,
Sorry, I'm not able to hear. Can you speak a little louder? Dr. Lakshman,
Yes,
please
sir.
see please facilitate talking, and somebody is asking something. I'm not able to hear. You can listen to that question and you can ask me that question.
Yes, participants can type your question in the chat box also.
Failure ஏதாவது scale
Or otherwise you increase your volume or you loudly say.
confidentiality-ங்கிறாரு.
Participants, you can write your question in the chat box also.
I think there is no
Yes,
more
yes, sir.
questions or doubts. You can wind up.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Actually, this is indeed a wonderful start, sir. Phase 2 of induction program. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity given to me. Thanks to all of you. Shall I leave the platform?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
Participants, you have to join by 3:30. The next session will start by 3:30 p.m. today. 5 minutes before you have to enter into the Zoom.